Welcome to Learn Biology, and today we're discussing natural selection. So, what is natural selection? Well, it was created or introduced by a man named Charles Darwin. He was an evolutionist and biologist who studied animals in the Galapagos Islands. And there, he noticed something very peculiar, is that there was a species, a bird known as a finch, so finches. And what he noticed is that the finches had different types of beaks. Some had wide beaks, some had very small beaks, and so on. Others had various patterns in their beaks. And he began to wonder what caused these different beaks. They're the same type of bird, the same population, but what caused all these variations of beaks? He also noticed that each beak was used to eat a different food. Like some beaks were specifically designed to eat worms and small insects, dig into tree bark. Other beaks were used to eat small seeds and small insects, and so on. So he began to realize that each beak reduced how much of the food was eaten. So like this beak right here might be used to dig through trees. So it lowered the competition for the bird that ate seeds. So like a bird that eats seeds, this one eats worms. So now there is a balance, because all the birds aren't trying to eat the same seed. So he realized that these beaks actually allowed the organisms to survive longer, allowed the finches to survive longer, because there was not much competition for the food types. So using this research, he proposed a theory known as natural selection, trying to explain why the species was changing, why there were variations. So he proposed this theory known as natural selection, and if we look, we see the term natural. So it has to do a lot with nature. So nature is what selects who will survive. And what he said was that these changes between the various organisms, individuals in a population, was random. So the genes randomly changed within organisms. So it wasn't a specific thing that changed the beak from something like this to something like that. So it wasn't something specific that changed it. It was just random. So there is no order to this. Random mutations within organisms of the same population cause the differences. So the beaks that we see here were all caused randomly with mutations, and mutations are just changes in a organism's genetics. Now, he also said that the environment influences what organisms survive. Nature selects who will survive. So that is a very big concept right there, that the environment influences which organisms survive. And to put this in example form, we will use leopards. So based on what Darwin says, is that here we have two types of leopards. We have the typical jungle leopard, and we have the snow leopard. Darwin says that these spots, this color, the spots that occurred, are all by random mutation. So random. So the color, this brown camouflage color, occurred randomly, and this white snow color occurred randomly. But what he's trying to say by natural selection is that the environment will decide which one of these two population of leopards will survive. So let's say the environment turns fully jungle. The snow melts where the snow leopard is living, and it becomes fully jungle. So now the whole planet is in jungle shape, and we have this jungle leopard and we have this snow leopard living in the same environment. Now a leopard, this camouflage that the leopard has, is used to allow it to hunt easier and blend into the environment. So this jungle leopard survives, continues to eat well. So we'll say this jungle leopard is surviving well, doing well. So doing well. And the snow leopard is not doing so well because it cannot blend into the environment, so it is starting to die out. And there's a big population of this, so we'll say there are about 150 snow leopards and 150 of the jungle leopards. Over time, these snow leopards will die out because they cannot hunt, so these will go extinct. However, the jungle leopards will continue to do well and they'll continue to flourish. This is all that Darwin is saying, that natural selection is the survival of the fittest based on the environment. So he's saying that these random mutations will allow organisms to survive. So this jungle leopard will pass on its genes, and over time it will go from 150 to 200 to 250 and so on, and this will go opposite. It will go from 150 to 100 to 50, and it will soon go to 0 because it cannot survive. This is all that Darwin is saying, that natural selection are random mutations that allow organisms to better survive in their environment. So thank you for watching Learn Biology, and we'll see you next time.